Hey everybody, today I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, picking up this John Deere 200 and hauling it up to Pennsylvania, back home. Hey everybody. So, I just arrived here in Memphis, Tennessee to pick up a John Deere 200 excavator. So I'm going to get this broken down and then we will get loaded up. Trying to be quick on this one, so I can get back up the road a ways. It's picking up and it's going up to Pennsylvania. So this is my ticket home. Alright, we are dropped out. Let's go find this thing. So, guy told me it was in this row about 3/4 of the way back. I saw a 200G, which is what we're getting, sitting over here. I have the serial number, so we'll go check this. Looks like it's the only 200 they have sitting here, so it must be it. Well, we will check it and make sure, and if that's it, we're gonna load her up. Ooh, muddy. Alright, let's see. We have one FF200 GXL NF085264. This is ours. Let's give it a look-see. See what we're working with here. It's clean, which is good. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, let's get her fired up and get it loaded. Oh, it's clean on the outside. Inside is a different matter, which is usually the case with excavators. And the guy gave me the key. Alright, she fired right up. Alright. Everything looks like it's working as it should. Boy, it's sluggish. Where's the thumb? Alright, I'm gonna go find somebody and ask about that, and I will get back to you. Alright, so I was just being dumb. There's a little switch here that you have to enable the thumb, which I didn't know about. So I just walked in and got the manager. That was the first thing he said. And then I came out and yeah, I pressed it and then it was good. Let's run it back and up onto the trailer. All right. we got her loaded up. I think I'm happy with where it is. So I'll give you guys a look at what we did. Yep, I think we look pretty good. I do have it angled a little bit, but that was, well, it's pretty straight. So the boom seemed to be a little off on this. Not quite centered, which is okay. Alright, we got her loaded. Let's get hooked up with the truck. While that builds up air pressure, I'm going to go ahead and start chaining this thing. And then we got to give gauge pressures to Jen so she can pull some permits for us. Sorry guys, I left you guys up here. I was working out back. Alright. So, I don't think my shorter chains are going to work. I'm going to have to get my longer chains to come out here to the D-ring. Alright, let's finish up this side. I'm gonna have to put a height stick on this too, make sure we're good on height. Alright, we got that one. Now let's get this side. Alright, now we just got the boom, which we'll probably just go right through there. Alright, I believe we got this sucker chained down. So I do want to put a height stick on that boom because it does not curl in that much. So let's do that. Just make sure on our height. Oh yeah, we're like 13-1. All right, we got this chain down. Now I just got to do the finishing touches, banners and flags and everything. So let's do that. Alright guys, got this thing all loaded up, so flags on it. I'll do a quick walk around here. It's a pretty nice piece. I think this this size is probably about the perfect size. I mean, unless you're doing really heavy stuff. If you wanted to have one for like the widest range of jobs, I would think like a 200, this kind of size, about 48,000 pounds. With a good bucket on it and a thumb, there's not much you couldn't do with this. So anyway, we're all loaded up. Let's hit the road. All right, guys. We are all loaded up. Got my paperwork signed by the shipper here. It's about 2 o'clock Central Time, so it's 3 o'clock Eastern Time. We're just gonna see how far we can get tonight. You know, sunset comes pretty early this time of year, so I figure we got probably about 3 hours, so we'll probably be lucky to get 150 miles done or so. So we're probably not going to make it back up to Nashville. I think it's a little over 200 miles up to Nashville, so we'll just get done what we can and have to live with the result. So our route is not too bad. There's a bit of a detour. That was nice, huh? You couldn't wait for me to come out. Anyway, bit of a detour around Nashville. We can't just go 40 all the way over to 65. We got to take 40 to 840 down around the south side of Nashville. And then we will hit 65 north, and then before we get right into downtown Nashville, we will take 440 up to 24, and then we got to run 24 back over to 65. So, and of course, we'll probably have to do that in the morning when traffic is heaviest, because they have us limited to sundown. I think we get a half an hour after sunset here in Tennessee, so that will go to our advantage. But right now I got to get right over onto that highway. That's 240, but in order to do that I have to take a right here and then go down and hit another little road that will take me over to 240. Hey guys, I just got stopped for the night, so I ran up here to, I forget, we're just west of Nashville, Dickson. We're in Dickson, Tennessee. My hope was, so I just fueled up at the Pilot that is at this exit 172, and then my hope was that they would have some magnetic red marker lights, because in Tennessee, if you're oversized, you're authorized 24/7 movement if you have red marker lights on the widest points of the load, one per side. So I don't have any, but I'm probably going to get some at this point, probably order some off Amazon. If they would have had them there, I could stick them on the tracks of the excavator and we could have at least made it through Nashville, because it's only 5:30 right now. Sunset was at like 4:36, so I got half an hour after. So by the time I got to the Pilot, it was already about time for me to be done. Then I had some options. I could either park at the Pilot, which it was full. There were no spots there. Then I was going to, we had actually already booked the hotel. There's a Best Western there. But so I left the Pilot and went to park there, and the entrance, the road that you have to turn on to get to it, there's a big railroad track that you have to go over to, and I drove past. I was on the phone with Jen. I said, yep, there's no way I'm getting in there. So I just had to keep going. Luckily there's a Quick Trip on the other side of 40, and they had some parking spots, so I parked here, and then there's a Days Inn just a little bit down the road, so we booked a room at the Days Inn. We're going to try to get our money back for the Best Western. It says non-refundable, but I feel extenuating circumstances. I mean, we didn't think there was a railroad track that I couldn't get over to get into the hotel. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully we're not just out, $80 or whatever. But if we are, we are. So yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm here until the morning, till sunrise, or half an hour before sunrise. And then we will make our way through Nashville then. I was really hoping to get through Nashville tonight. It'll be traffic in the morning, but that's the way it is. So I am going to go get checked in, find some dinner somewhere, because I don't have any dinner for tonight. Yeah, so I will see you guys in the morning. Hey guys, made it up through Nashville this morning. It was really foggy and raining off and on, so I didn't want to get the camera out here. But we made it up through here. We're actually in Kentucky, just north of Bowling Green now. So I'm gonna set you guys up here and get some shots. Hopefully the sun will come out today and we'll get some good scenery. So I will talk to you guys later.
Running up and down these highways is a way of life for few and far between. It may not be the life for some of you, but it's the only life for me. When I fire up all those horses and make my chest swell up with pride, as I pull my wagon through the long dark night, well, I'm living a diesel life. It's a style of life that most can't take, but they can't do without us. Counting off the many miles that we all put behind us. Loading here, dropping there, fast forward and rewind. Yeah, that's living, at least it is to us, living a diesel life. What I do takes me to places that most will never see. While they're sitting in an office chair or working in a factory. So I pull it in the big hole as I sleep in silent dreams. It ain't just a way of life, it's the only life for me. Well, I'm living the diesel life. Well, it's a style of life that most can't take, but they can't do without us. Counting off the many miles that we all put behind us. Loading here, dropping there, fast forward and rewind. But that's living, at least it is to us. Living the diesel life. Well, that's living, at least it is to us. Living the diesel life. Living the diesel life.
All right, guys, we made it here to Sutton, West Virginia, to the Days Inn. This is actually a pretty nice Days Inn, much nicer than the one I stayed at last night. It's got quite a view. There's a pilot truck stop at this exit. Any of you truckers out there, you know, coming up 79, Sutton, West Virginia. So we called this place and they said, oh yeah, you can park here tonight, no problem. We have a big parking lot and all that, so great, you know, we booked it up. And then I got here and the parking lot is really not set up for tractor trailers, and there's a sign out front that says no large trucks. I was like, oh boy, you know, now we might have a problem. So I got here and I pulled in and I just went in and I talked to the guy at the desk, and he said, oh, we don't usually allow 18-wheelers in here. And I said, well, we did call, you know, and ask if it was okay if we parked there before we reserved the room. And he said, oh, well, he said, we're not real busy, you know, I only have like 4 people coming in tonight, so it's not a problem, you can park out there. I said, okay. So luckily we're good tonight, but probably not going to be coming back in the future because they are really not set up for trucks. But it does appear to be a pretty nice hotel. I used some of my Wyndham rewards points and got it pretty cheap. So we'll stay here tonight, and then tomorrow morning we will head up north up 79 around Morgantown. Have a couple of detours tomorrow. Fairmont, there's a bridge that they don't let any heavy stuff go across, so we got a detour around that. and then they're doing work where 68 and 79 meet. So I actually got to go up, take the ramp to 68 east, loop around and come back, and then get on 79 north again. We'll take that up into Pennsylvania, and I think it's 21 across to 119, and then Quarrick is over in there. So we got our permit pulled, just got to plug it into the GPS, and we will get this thing delivered in the morning. So I'll see you guys then. I appreciate the call. Yeah, we'll see what's going on Monday, and if you're moving anything heavier, give me a call. I'll try to make my way up there for you. All right. Let's see if we can get backed in. All right, and we just gotta get this thing unloaded. You want it?
Stick it off to the side since you're in it. Right here's fine.
Let me grab paperwork for you. Alright guys, that load is all done. So that was a pretty long run. I think it's like 800 miles altogether. So, but we got it done. Started in Memphis, Tennessee, ran up through Tennessee, Kentucky, through West Virginia and up into Pennsylvania this morning to get this delivered to Uniontown. We got that John Deere 200G all delivered here, no problems. From here I am headed home. It is Friday morning. I've been running since Monday. I left to go down to Baltimore to pick up the first load of the week, so I will be very happy to get home. I think this video will be dropping right before Thanksgiving, so I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. Maybe comment below something you're thankful for. Kind of hokey, but I'm thankful for work and able to do what I love, driving a truck, and do it on my own terms. So what are you guys thankful for? I will see you after Thanksgiving. See you guys.